In the second half of the program, we present to you Doug Armstrong, Chairman of Finance of the Auckland City Council. Doug Armstrong will be talking on a variety of issues ranging from the leaky home syndrome in Auckland to the downsizing of committees, from multitudes of them to just 7. So let's cross over to him now.
Douglas Armstrong is the Chairman of Finance at the Auckland City Council and a former President and CEO of UNITEC. He is a distinguished Fellow and past President of the Institution of Professional Engineers in New Zealand and a former member of the Prime Minister's Enterprise Council and many other boards and national committees associated with tertiary education and engineering. Douglas practiced civil and structural engineering for a number of years before entering the tertiary education sector and becoming Chief Executive Officer of UNITEC in Auckland. As UNITEC's CEO, he served on a significant number of government task forces related to tertiary education and professional engineering. He also served on the Prime Minister Enterprise Councils under Jim Bolger and later under Jenny Shipley. On retiring from UNITEC, Douglas was elected onto the Auckland City Council in 2001, serving as Chairman of the Financing Committee under Mayor John Banks. He was re-elected for a further term in 2004 and has now come back in the same role with the same team under Mayor John Banks. Douglas is a distinguished Fellow and past President of IPENS. While engineers possess an admirable knowledge base on which to enter politics and deal with politicians, they do not feature strongly in the political landscape. Douglas offers the view that the reason lies partly in their education and formation processes, which lack the essential elements of presentation and political understanding. Douglas believes that whilst it is evident more engineers are sitting on the boards of major organisations, it is essential that more members stand successfully for political office, where the major decisions affecting the direction and infrastructure of the country are made. Politics is the art of selling oneself and one's ideas to the general public and conveying technical issues in layman's terms.
Good to be back once again in the hot seat for the second time.
Yes, it's the same old team really. John Banks is Mayor and David Hay as Deputy Mayor and myself as Chairman of the Finance Committee. So we've got a fair task in front of us. We've got to undo some of the soft things that were done in the last term of council and tighten things up.
So could you please go into details? Could you outline certain aspects of those soft touches that you're talking about?
Well, we were elected on a manifesto of holding rates to within council's rate of inflation, which is about 4 or 5%. And we intend to deliver on that. One of the reasons why Dick Hubbard is no longer Mayor and Bruce Huck is no longer Deputy Mayor is because the public didn't like the way that they'd increased rates by 30% in the 3 years that they were in office. So we've been given a clear mandate by the electorate, if you like, to deliver on our manifesto, which was to hold the rates within council's rate of inflation, which is about 5%. That doesn't mean to say everyone's rates are only going to go up by 5%. It depends on the valuation of their house and a few things, but that's the average residential rates increase. So we've got some significant savings to make, and we're just going to have to manage the city finances like we'd manage our own, and not be profligate in spending and review the expenditure that's been put in place by the previous council.
No, it's interesting that you mention about cost-cutting aspects as such. So, is that also the area wherein you have cut down on the committees?
Well, we've cut down very significantly on the number of committees. I mean, the whole of the council could have existed without any city councillors and without doing anything else other than service the committees. We've chopped them down from about 14 to 5. So we're lean and hungry in a committee sense, and that reverberates through the whole of the organisation, because it means that you need less staff to service the committees, less papers and so on, and that should enable us to grapple with the higher level governance issues rather than delve down in management detail. So there's a lot of very significant things that we've got to have a look at and review and see whether they're sound under our new banner.
Well, there is a charge that, some women members are absent from some of the committees, and especially with regards to the major committees, none of the existing council members are a party to it, in the sense Tony Miller was once associated with the Arts Committee, and she's no longer been there. I mean, any reasons for her absence?
Well, no, there's no reason. We've got a stunningly good team in the Citizens and Ratepayers grouping. These people are very often running businesses in their own right in the city and enterprises and contributing in other ways in the city, and we had a difficult job choosing the chairs of these committees. We did a lot of sounding out. We've ended up where we've ended up, but the people that we've got in our team are here to do a job, not because they want a job, and that differentiates us a little bit from the previous council. I think there were a lot of people in that previous council, I think, that were there as a full-time occupation because that was their job, whereas in our case we're here to do the job and get the job done in the interest of ratepayers, and I think that's healthy.
Could you cite a specific example of a member seeking a full-time job on the committee?
No, I can't do that. I'm being a bit cynical, but in the last council there are a lot of people sitting around the table that came from academe and so on, and we've got people that have come in now from business, and they're here to prosecute our manifesto, which was really pretty much to stick to the knitting. New Zealand's a very small country, and one of the few luxuries of being a small country is that local authorities can do their job and the main government can do their job. It's not like Australia where you've got states and so on coming into it. The government can take care of all of the social issues, the social welfare issues, the police and all the rest of it, and we can deal with issues that are more related to infrastructure and economic development of the city and things like that. And that delineation, I think, is important. There's something like 60 local authorities in the country. If they all get involved in housing and affordable housing and all that sort of thing, it depends on where people live as to what social services they get. And that's not right. The central government should handle the social aspect of life in this country, and we should get on and handle a little more on the infrastructural projects and things like that.
Now, amidst the talk of cost-cutting measures, how do you explain the emergence of new logo that is coming about? I mean, a set of logos as such?
The logos? Well, the logos was something we inherited unwillingly from the last council. We didn't want to get involved in that dispute. I think it's true to say that it was unwise of the previous council and indeed the executive staff, in my view, not to run the change of logo through council as a formal resolution and get it delegated to a small group. But in some ways it's rearranging the deck chairs a little bit, because we've got this Royal Commission coming up, and that's undoubtedly going to result in changed local governance structures in Auckland, and all of those will need some sort of new branding and logo and so on. So it seems a bit funny to me that we fiddle with that sort of thing while all that's going on. But we've resolved to run with the new logo simply because the cost of going back far exceeds the cost of going forward. And there have been a whole lot of stuff ordered with the new logo and things like that, and it's just sensible to move on. And it's not a bad logo. My personal preference, along with a lot of other people, is that I like the look of Rangitoto and a few yacht sails in our logo. I like to think we're the city of sails. I don't think we're here to promote Auckland City Council necessary. I think we're here to promote Auckland City. And most people know that the libraries are run by Auckland City Council. They don't need it explained to them, and the swimming pools are, and so on. So I'm fairly open-minded on all that. But the logo issue, as far as I'm concerned, is a thing in the past, and we've just got to get in and attend to some of the other more major things.
So your preference, your personal preference would have been just the old logo, but underneath that, instead of just Auckland City, Auckland City.
Well, I think my personal preference, and I hasten to say that I'm no expert on it, but my personal preference, everyone's got a personal preference and allowed to have that, but my personal preference is that we stick with, we would have stuck with the other one until such time as the Royal Commission looks at what's happening in Auckland.
Next week.
It gives you 100 million kilometres. That's 100 million kilometres that Aucklanders could save in travel every year if we had a new crossing. Again, it's that whole number 8 wiring approach, that mentality. It's very much about sort of picking out sort of cheap compromises. Now, here's a chance to start fixing things up. Why don't we put the world's most fantastic, most spectacular bridge? Let's build a heroic structure.
Up in the Mirror on satellite, cable and terrestrial network.
And there you have it, the show is wrapped up for another week. Fantastic show, I must say myself. It's been a pleasure joining you once again for this fantastic journey. As always, I would love to hear what you guys have to think about the show, positive and the negative, the good and the bad. Now fire in all your thoughts and your comments to our email address at info@teamworkproductions.co.nz. If you missed that, here it is again, info@teamworkproductions.co.nz, and see what's the latest and greatest at Teamwork Productions at our website at www.teamworkproductions.co.nz. And until next week, my friends, I am Javed Khan. This was Up in the Mirror. To the stars and beyond, be safe and be well. Pomarie.